Welcome to the Revolution of Purpose. And this will be displayed as a podcast. It's going to be displayed on YouTube. It's a revolution of coming back to our true natures and our true essences and our big why of why we're here. How does purpose bring you closer to nature?
Well, purpose for me has been the thing that's been able to get me through hell and high water. It's the thing that's able to get me to transcend my struggles and my strifes and my challenges and my obstacles because it's not about me. It's about something higher than myself. And I think when we get out of our selfishness, like I have, or continue to do so, I think that we inherently remember that we are part of nature. We actually just aligned our why. And my core purpose is to create a system of enlightened leadership that leaves a legacy of love and creates peace on earth. And for us to be able to align on our why together, I really needed to help Tracy refine her why, which consists of going through an exercise called 7 levels deep, which is you ask why 7 times. However, I think we went way past 7 times because the whole point of it is to get to the why of the matter, the meat of the matter. And we know we get to the root of the why when it's an emotional experience. And we decided last week to officially go into business together after being in a relationship with each other for the last 3.5 years. And so now this is a compilation of us, and it's called Revolution of Purpose.
This feels really vulnerable to share. I'm not used to being a public person. I feel like most of my intimate details tend to be not shared with the entire world.
It can be really uncomfortable bringing people into our relationship, bringing people into the work that we're working on, and ultimately bringing on you, the listener, into a calling, into something that pulls you forward, that makes you seek something outside of yourself to really become the person, the leader, the partner, the friend, the family member, the sister, the brother, whatever it is, an identity that you hold to live for something higher. What does revolution of purpose mean to you?
So, right now, I feel like our society is at the precipice of immense change. That even our administration, right now, from a political standpoint, is changing things on a massive scale, whether you're a yes to it or a no.
It's true. Change is happening. That's the only
Change
thing
is
that's for certain.
happening. Climate change, the predictions that we have been aware of for like over 10 years, we're actually there now. So, like, we are at the point where change is here. We are in the change. We are at the point where either we can continue off the cliff or we can make a massive shift, hence the revolution. So, we get to actually choose to do something different and to make changes for our future and for the future generations. Why is purpose a part of it? It is really difficult to create massive change within yourself and in the external world if you don't have a why. I have been in chronic purposelessness for a lot of my life. And when in purposelessness, there's no why. So, why would you do anything meaningful? This is a podcast of remembrance, really bringing us back to our purposes, remembering what our individual purposes are, and how we can work together as a collective in collaboration with each other to make immense, powerful change.
And why do you think it's important for people to remember their purpose?
Honestly, that question brings me joy. Why is it important for people to remember their purpose? That's the motivation and the drive behind everything. How would you answer that question?
I would agree with that. I think that we actually have I don't know if the right word is endemic or pandemic or just like chronic issue of purposelessness as a species right now. We are given everything. We have a lot. And don't get me wrong, there's varieties and people who still need more. And there's a huge amount of people who have everything they need, and they're finding that what they're doing is not bringing them meaning and it's not bringing them purpose specifically. I know that was me. I did what I was told to do. I was effectively project managed to go to school and to go into corporate America. And in that role, I realized that I wanted something more. That sitting behind a desk and selling a piece of software, doing marketing, spending my days inside, not doing things that really fulfilled me was not what I wanted with my life. And that was when I was 25. And so that realization made me start asking questions. It's like, okay, what is it that I want to do? How do I want to spend my life? And there's a long story that we're going to be covering. We're going to be covering Tracy's story and how she got to where she is right now. And we're going to be covering my story and how we got to where I am right now. And then we're going to be covering our story of how we got to where we are right now. That was really the beginning of my hero's journey, which really culminated in me getting fired from basically a dream job, which from the lens of the hero's journey, whether you're familiar with it or not, Joseph Campbell created a structure, a roadmap for the hero's journey, which is basically it's a roadmap for self-actualization, self-realization that all movies are structured around. And it often begins with a call, like life cannot go on as it does. And the way I like to view it is that either life will hit you in the face and make you change, or you get yourself to change. And usually what I notice with people is that it happens once they reach a deep enough point of suffering where they're like, absolutely no, I will not go any further. And for me, I didn't get to choose. I got fired from my dream job. And that got me to start looking at myself and start spending time outside and start asking questions like this. So wherever you are in your journey, we've either been there or on it or are supporting people who are further along on the journey in actualization of their purpose, which ultimately is living a life full of meaning. It's living a life full of purpose for however long you're here and giving the unique gifts that you have to give to the whole. And that's where we find purpose. We find purpose in service. We find purpose in giving. We find purpose in healing. We find purpose in many different ways. But the question for you as our listener is like, what is your purpose? What is the embodiment of your purpose? And even if you already are embodying your purpose, there is always a further refinement of the embodiment of your purpose as you purify more into love and operate more from a place of power. And that's what we need of the collective right now.
So this is an important distinction. What is the difference between a career that you love and your purpose?
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually looked this up a couple of years ago. There's a difference between a career and a vocation. And a vocation is something that's a higher calling. It's something that calls you forth. And I think that vocation is something that is called forth out of you. Like when life gives you the ability to change directions, whether you choose it or not, it's calling forth something in you to become something greater. And a career, while I think is a part of vocation, it is more than just supporting yourself financially and caring for your basic needs. It is a spiritual fulfillment and meaning that comes from supporting yourself and also fulfilling your spiritual destiny.
What is a purpose?
What is a purpose?
What is purpose?
I think I'll refer to Dr. Nathaniel Branden on this one, actually. He was the pioneer of self-esteem, the 6 pillars of self-esteem. And the self-esteem is your relationship with yourself. And your relationship with yourself dictates your relationship with absolutely everyone, everything, including your experience of reality. So when I think of purpose, I think of living purposefully. Are you living purposefully or are you living unconsciously? And as you become more conscious, you can live more purposefully. But that requires you to take responsibility.
Beautiful. And the piece that I'd like to add here is that purpose is not actually your career. It's not your job. It's not your occupation. Purpose is really the embodiment of your beingness, of your big why. Mm-hmm. So having purpose in your body, mm-hmm. which is a very different concept than how a lot of people have been looking for purpose. Mm-hmm. I know for me, when I started my journey into purpose, I was very focused on, okay, what is my job? What is my career? What am I supposed to be doing? Mm-hmm. And purpose is really about the being rather than the doing.
Yeah. Yeah, but we often don't start there. And I'll track back to Dr. David Hawkins on that one. We often start with focusing on what we have, and then it focuses on what we do, and then it turns into who do we become. And what Tracy's suggesting is turning that fully on your head, actually. It's to actually have and do, you need to become. Your doingness and havingness will become from who you naturally are.
This podcast is designed as a journey of expansion and exploration. So as you dive into each episode with us, the intention is for you to grow with each podcast, whether we actually give you a practice or just sharing our experiences and the tools that we have. You will be growing with each and every episode in a fun way.
Yeah. And I want to invite you to join us on this journey. And I also want to invite you to view us as your mirrors. We are here as guides and we don't have all the answers. We're going to share what we've learned, and we're also works in progress, as well as the people who are the most successful on the planet are also works in progress. So we all have something to offer, and ultimately we want to share us to you. We've received lots of feedback about people enjoying being around us, which will include random conversations and sometimes complete babble. And then it might be something really fruitful in which there's tools and practices and techniques, or sometimes there's going to be books and teachers and mentors that we've talked about, including the mentorship and the guidance that we give to our clients as well. So it's really inviting you into our lives. If you are inclined and you want to spend time with us, I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe. And if there's anyone that you think would also get value of being around people who are embodying purpose, I encourage you to invite them to follow us and to share. Because the more we have people embodying their true purpose, the more that we can transcend suffering as a species, come into harmony with ourselves and the planet, and really actualize our true potential. And I'm so grateful that you're here with us.
Thank you for joining. Until next time.